Hello, this is Coding Gicha for full-stack developers. I'll introduce packages that visually display information managed with Git in Vim or make it easier to use Git commands in Vim. Let's check the Vim packages installed with vim-es. vim-gitgutter is a package that visually displays Git diff information in Vim's sign column. It can be easily installed with vim-add. Let's navigate to the .vim directory managed by Git. Let's open the vim-rc.vim file in Vim. If there's no Git diff information to display, the sign column won't be visible. Let's change the Vim airline theme to 1 dark. Since the file has been modified, the sign column appears and a tilde appears to the left of the changed line. Thanks to Vim dev icons, file types are displayed as icons. Since section X in Vim airline was left blank, I'll remove the setting to restore the original display. The removed line should display a minus sign in the sign column, but since there's no line to display, an underscore that feels like a minus sign appears just above the line. To see the newly added line, let's add the power line font setting. A plus sign will appear in the sign column. Thanks to vim-gitgutter, you can visually get Git diff information. Let's save the modified file to learn more about Git. I'm currently using a command to prevent unnecessary characters from being copied when dragging and copying. Since the Git diff symbol in the sign column is also copied, it would be helpful to disable vim-gitgutter as well. Let's also edit the .gitignore file. In the previous explanation of Vim Buffet, I created a session file and configured it not to be reflected in the Git repository. I'll exclude the session directory from the ignore list so that more files with changed Git status will be added. Let's exit Vim. To check Git status updates, you need to exit to the terminal. However, Vim Fugitive is a package that allows you to run Git commands directly in Vim. You can easily install it with vim-add. Let's run git status to check the Git status. There are 2 modified files in the unstaged section and 1 file in the untracked section. Vim Fugitive displays Git status in short format, so let's run git status again with the S option. The short format displays the status in 2 columns, with the first column representing the staged state and the second column representing the unstaged state. If both columns are marked with question marks, the status is untracked. Let's restart Vim. Vim Fugitive allows you to run commands directly in Vim without exiting to the terminal. You can do this by entering Git with a capital letter in command mode or by simply typing a capital G. The screen is split vertically and the Vim Fugitive window appears at the bottom. The Vim Fugitive window should appear at the top, but this is due to the split below setting. By default, Vim displays the new window at the top when split vertically and on the left when split horizontally. However, I'm more accustomed to the new window appearing at the bottom or right, so I've configured this setting accordingly. 1 file is marked with a question mark in the untracked section, and 2 files are marked with an M in the unstaged section. Vim Fugitive displays the Git status in a short format. The staged and unstaged sections differ slightly in that they are displayed as paragraphs rather than symbols. Moving the cursor to the session file in the untracked section and pressing S will move it to the staged section. You can also move a file in the unstaged section to the staged section by pressing S. However, moving the cursor to unstaged and then pressing S will move all files from the unstaged state to the staged state at once. To revert a staged file to the unstaged and untracked states, move the cursor to the file and press U. Pressing U in the staged section will revert all files to the unstaged and untracked states. To discard unstaged or untracked files, press the capital X. Discarding .gitignore adds the session file to the ignore list, leaving only the vim-rc.vim file. Discard can only be applied to that file, it cannot discard all unstaged or untracked files. I modified some settings of the Vim airline to explain Vim Fugitive, but I personally prefer the previous settings, so I'll also discard the vim-rc.vim file. Since the vim-rc.vim file is currently open, a warning message will appear. I'll reload the file. Close the Vim Fugitive window. The restored Vim airline settings will only take effect after you restart Vim. The background color of the sign column is originally gray, but I prefer to remove the background color. Even if you comment out the setting that removes the background color of the sign column, the Haba Max color scheme is already set to remove the background color. If you're using the Haba Max color scheme, configuring the sign column is unnecessary. Let's run the :G again. This time I'll move to staged, then perform the entire process, including committing and pushing, using Vim Fugitive. You can run git commit, which starts with a G, or this can also be run with a G instead of git. The information to be committed will be displayed. Enter a message, save, and exit to commit. Let's check the git status again with a G. There are no more uncommitted files. Instead, it indicates that the push hasn't been completed. To push to the git server, run git push, which starts with a G in command mode, or run G push. Now, there are no files that aren't managed by Git or haven't been updated to the server. You can also reflect the latest status of the Git server locally by using :G pull. Let's exit to the terminal and check if the push command through Vim Fugitive has been properly reflected. All files with Git status changes have been pushed, so no information will be displayed. Let's explore other features of Vim Fugitive. Let's edit some files. I prefer to centrally manage all additional file type syntax settings by collecting them in the filetype.vim file. Let's comment out the pug file type syntax setting and move it to the Jade configuration file. Let's copy the pug file type syntax setting. Let's open the Jade.vim file. Let's paste the copied pug file type syntax setting. Let's start Vim Fugitive with a :G. The git status shows 2 modified files. Let's move the cursor to the filetype.vim file. Entering DV will split the content into left and right sections. Let's just maximize the diff tool screen. You can also edit and save directly in the working tree. There are currently 3 open windows. Let's close all but the working tree. Using blame, you can see who modified what and when. Run :G blame in the file buffer to check blame. Lines without a caret symbol in the list are history related to the vimrc.vim file. Find the location you want to check based on the date, then press enter to display the history information. You can immediately check the additions, modifications, and deletions. Let's install the nerdtree-git plugin, which displays git status flags in nerdtree. Launch Vim. Launch nerdtree. The git status flag icon appears to the left of the file type icon. The file type icon is displayed as 2 characters. This causes the guides in Vim indent guides to appear shifted 1 character to the left. Unfortunately, if you're using the nerdtree-git plugin, it's best to exclude nerdtree from the Vim indent guide settings. To apply the changes, exit Vim and restart it. Launch nerdtree. Now that the issue of it appearing to shift 1 character to the left has been resolved, it's more disappointing that Vim indent guides can't be used. And, personally, I feel a bit cluttered. If you use directory arrows in nerdtree, they can get too far apart and cluttered. If you use the nerdtree-git plugin, you might find it helpful to set the directory arrows to be replaced with folder status icons. Exit Vim and use the git command in the terminal to restore. First, let's remove the nerdtree-git plugin. I'll restore the modified files using the git checkout command. Actually, git-related commands can be easily run from the command line even without Vim Fugitive. You can also launch a terminal window while running Vim, so you can run git-related commands without having to exit to the terminal. Vim Fugitive might not be all that appealing. I introduced 3 git-related Vim packages, but personally I don't think any of them are particularly useful other than vim-gitgutter. I left Vim Fugitive as it's not used unless you run it separately, but I removed the nerdtree-git plugin as it was just cluttering up my Vim screen. Thank you for watching.